Well, hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm your host, Prickly Hedgehog. Something a little different today. Orbx has given me permission to bring you a sneak peek at their latest Kola map for DCS World. Back in 2022, remember we got news from Eagle Dynamics that Orbx was brought on board to do a brand new DCS World map. The company needs no introduction to most of you, familiar with their flight sim work, fleshing out points of interest, airports and surrounding areas, and franchises like Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. In a very ambitious first project for DCS World, the team took on the rugged and beautiful Kola Peninsula, which is set for release May 3rd, 2024. Well, that's this week. The area is renowned for its fjords, towering mountains, as well as a plethora of lakes and rivers where bridges crisscross to connect communities nestled amidst some of the most beautiful and dramatic scenery in the world. Kola will bring the first modern European map to the game beyond the Free Caucasus map, although currently we do have World War II maps such as Normandy 2. The community has been begging for an expansion of the European theatre for some time, with demands for things other than the desert-based theatres we have. If you've been pining for the fjords, well, here's another opportunity to fly over them outside, of course, the South Atlantic map. Roughly 2 years in development, I've been lucky enough to watch the progress of this amazing map over the last, well, probably 6 to 8 months, which at more than 500,000 square kilometers will also include portions of Sweden and Norway. As we described in the SIP rep last week, the map will feature several airfields, including Kymi Tornio, Rovaniemi, Bodo, Laxelv, Kiruna, Kalix Fors, Severomorsk 1 and Severomorsk 3, Emperor Nicholas II, Montchegorsk and Olengorsk, and others may be planned in the future. This should provide enough spawn points within lines of conflict for mission makers to establish scenarios to unlock and build front lines and conflicts around. We are waiting for some features like the winter version of the map to be created post-release in order for Baltic Dragon and Reflected Simulations to round out the campaign that they've been working for this map as well, which we're all looking forward to. The Orbx team have floated the idea too for the creation of the Northern Lights for the map, which would require something from ED, so vote up that idea if you want to see such a feature in the game, which would be something quite special, especially in those wintry skies. While these bases and airfields that I have mentioned and some of the surrounding towns and cities have been fleshed out, there are areas of the map which have not been fully developed. However, having said that, and in talking to one of the developers today during the recording of this particular episode and the voiceover work, I was advised that the build that I'm flying actually does not include all of the updates that have been recently included in another build that the developers are working on. So expect more things to be fleshed out. Excitingly, it's going to include a lot more towns and cities, and I also expect some further development on air bases and other bits and pieces that are still work in progress, which is not untypical of maps that are in development processes like this. So it's going to be exciting to hear some more on that, so stay tuned for more updates in the very near future. On that basis, unsurprisingly, parts of the map won't mimic your Google map comparison if you're expecting to pop up and look and make an apples to apples comparison. This is a feature, in fairness, of most of the maps in the current game's formatting. So not everyone or everything is rendered in high detail, and the developers have to make a decision on where they're going to put their effort. Now, based on my experiences of those areas where effort has been placed, well, I'm suitably impressed. Flying over the Murmansk area, for example, can reveal some pretty interesting surprises. There are others too. Near Rovaniemi, for example, the city itself was largely destroyed during the Second World War by the retreating German army. It was severely damaged in fighting stemming from an incident in which a German ammunition train blew up, killing numerous German soldiers, and which was blamed on Finnish commandos. This resulted in the typical reprisals of the era, and about 80 to 90% of the city was destroyed. It was rebuilt, though, in the shape of a reindeer's head, apparently, with roads forming the shape of antlers, the sports stadium serving as the reindeer's eye. One of my favorite takeoff points, actually, is from the airport there. facing to the south, and that launches you over the city with a clear view of the bridges and ski ramps to the left as you fly out over the city. It's pretty cool. As I mentioned, the area is rich in geographical features, and for those looking for some exciting and dramatic places to fly, you'll definitely find it among the many mountains and fjords to the west and north. It brought back memories of EF 2000 for me, for those of you familiar with that game from way back in the 90s, which we discussed recently, but with far superior graphics, I must say. Performance-wise, the map compares favorably with others in the game right now, and I am aware though that the team is still conducting tweaks. I'm running an i9 11900 CPU with 64 gigs of RAM and a 4080 ASUS RTX GPU, with the game running on a dedicated 2TB M.2 card. Now, you may experience better or slightly worse performance based on your own rig, so frame rate exercises aren't necessarily a true benchmark or reflection of performance, especially too when I'm running the game in VR often. The simplest way I can endorse performance is by saying the following: if you can run any of the pay-for versions of the maps in the game without too much drama, you should be fine. If your rig runs the Marianas Islands map without breaking a sweat, then you'll be fine. In other words, most of you will have no drama running the map. If you are, maybe making some minor graphical tweaks as necessary as you perhaps do for other maps. Obviously, this is going to be dependent on the number of objects being run in the game, as well as assets and things in terms of ground units. So the variability is pretty complex for me to do performance benchmarks in any kind of meaningful way here. This isn't the thrust of the video. The idea here is just to give you, as I said in the intro, a sneak peek at the map's features and things. Some of the screenshots and images are recorded on a closed beta version of the game. Others may be on slightly older versions, so bear in mind this is all work in progress material and may or may not represent the final product. And there again, some variations in performance may crop up. Again, the winter version of the map will come after it's been released, which will offer a whole new experience I'm really looking forward to, especially if we can get those northern lights there too. It is a sub-Arctic climate in many regions of the map, so winter I think will be an appropriate theme for this one. It does remind me of parts of Minnesota actually, and it makes sense why Minnesotans have a large number of Scandinavian and Nordic settlers and the odd Kiwi. I'm not going to reveal all of the map's features here in this particular video because, well, I think that just ruins the excitement and experience for those of you wanting to explore on your own. On that basis, let's let the map do the talking here, and I hope you enjoy that. I want to say thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth news and exclusive features like this for DCS World. This is Prickly Hedgehog out. We'll see you next time. Cheers.